Welcome to Black Box Recap. Today we are going to explain a movie named No Time to Die. The film opens with a flashback. Young Madeline Swan tends to her sick mother, while a man in a mask comes into their home. Madeline sees the man on the window and runs to hide. The man enters the house, introduces himself to her mom as Lucifer Safin, and says he is there for Mr. White, as he killed Safin's family. While Madeline's mom can't give him an answer, Safin shoots her. Madeline goes to hide under her bed, where Safin goes to search for her. She shoots him and drags his body outside, however, he seems to be alive. Madeline starts running across the icy lake, till she falls through. Safin can't bring himself to let the girl die. So he shoots the ice and pulls her out. Jump to the present day, where Madeline is living with James Bond in Matera, romantically. Even though they are happy together, Madeline is aware of Bond. Still has lingering thoughts about Vesper Lind, whom she points out is buried close to them. The next morning, Bond is going to Vesper's tomb to finally forgive her. He also has a piece of paper ready to burn that says "Forgive me" on it. Before leaving, Bond sees a Spectre calling card close by, and seconds later, the tomb explodes. Bond recovers fast enough to begin walking, best for assassins, led by using a man with a cybernetic eye known as Primo, to go after him. Bond races again to his room on a bike to get Madeline, accusing her of getting him set up, because the assassins should not realize where to have found him. He gets Madeline inside the Aston Martin, and finally ends up in a high-speed chase across Matera, with Bond getting assassins to crash their car, or get shot. The villains corner Bond and Madeline in the middle of the plaza, with her begging Bond to make a move, while he sits there and the thugs shoot at the car. When he sees that Madeline is telling the fact, he turns on the machine gun from the car and kills nearly every assassin besides Primo. After that, Bond takes Madeline to a reach station, where he puts her on a train. She tearfully tries to capture him, as the train starts to depart, however, he's gone. 5 years later, any other group of assassins, damaged into an MI6 lab. They are running underneath Safin, who contacts head scientist Valdo Obruchev. They collect Heracles, a lethal bioweapon that can be used as a poison through skin-to-skin touch. Once you have what they need, the assassins kill the opposite man and take Obruchev with them. MI6 catches wind of this, with Moneypenny going to talk to M about it. But he remains tight-lipped on what Heracles is and needs to recognize where 007 is. Bond visits Cuba to meet a CIA operative named Paloma. They infiltrate a Spectre assembly, where Blofeld is using a robotic eye, just like the one Primo uses, to examine the party. Meanwhile, Obruchev is being forced to set up Heracles inside the facility, but he is seen switching a vial from the tool. As soon as Bond and Paloma comprehend Blofeld is up to something, the complete party turns their focus to Bond. The Heracles poison is launched into the room, with the intent to kill Bond while the poison doesn't affect Spectre agents. What happens is the opposite, as Spectre operatives start to develop boils on their faces, before losing dead, all while Bond and Paloma remain unaffected. The two face off against gunmen, which includes Primo, even as Nomi indicates up to understand Obruchev. After killing off several henchmen, Paloma gets a car and spots Obruchev seeking to make a run for it. She runs the car into the structure, while he's climbing down and it collapses onto the car. Bond takes Obruchev away on a rickety old plane. Bond brings Obruchev to a boat to meet with Ash and Felix. When they start to interrogate Obruchev over Heracles, and Bond quickly realize Ash is a double agent working with Obruchev. During a war, Ash shoots Felix and gets away with Obruchev, where they blow the ship. Although Bond tries to help Felix, they know his gunshot wound is just too extreme, and Felix resigns himself to his fate. Bond sadly leaves his buddy behind, before managing to break free and escape. Bond returns to MI6 to confront M. He demands to be let into Belmarsh to talk to Blofeld, but M refuses. M calls Nomi into Moneypenny gives to assist Bond. That night, they go to Q's house. They ask him to check the files they recovered, and when he does, they find out files on the Spectre objectives, with only Blofeld remaining. There are also found hundreds of documents, and their DNA samples. Bond tells Q to get him into Belmarsh to meet with Blofeld, but he says only one person has access to him. Bond is going to Belmarsh, and reunites with Madeline. He tries to shake her hand but she declines. Bond is left talking to Blofeld, who taunts him and says he set up an assault at Vesper's tomb to intentionally make Bond consider that Madeline set him up. Then Bond grabs Blofeld to physically assault him. As Tanner enters to stop Bond, they then see that Blofeld has been poisoned to death via Bond's touch. Bond learns he became inflamed with Heracles after touching Madeline, and he can't get it out. Bond goes to find her childhood home. To his surprise, he finds that she has a daughter, Matilda, although Madeline claims she is not Bond's. After placing Matilda in bed, Madeline informs Bond that who Safin is. Blofeld informed Madeline's father to kill Safin's entire own family, which left him as the only survivor with facial disfigurements. She additionally mentions an island that Safin's family had, in which his base of operations presently is. Bond gives Q information on finding Safin, and Q informs MI6 that the island is located between Japan and Russia. Nomi is seeking out Ash, but Bond learns that he and Safin's other minions are close, so he gets Madeline and Matilda out of the house for protection. On the street, Safin's assassins chase after the three. Bond runs off the road, but their van is likewise knocked off the street. Bond shoots at the assassins and sets entice for multiple others till Ash comes out to try and kill Bond himself. Bond overturns his van and he crashed. Ash crawls out and asks for Bond's help. In retribution for Felix's death, Bond pushes Ash's van down to crush him. He then learns that Madeline and Matilda had been abducted and taken to the island. Bond rejoins MI6, where Nomi relinquishes the 007 titles to Bond, as they head out to the island to stop Safin and save Madeline and Matilda. Meanwhile, the villain brings the two to his garden, where different poisonous plants are developed, consisting of the nanobots being harvested for the Heracles poison distribution. Bond and Nomi are brought to the island, where they damage the ability and cross after the gunman. They capture Obruchev and plan to blow the place up, although they don't have enough explosives to get the job accomplished. After continued threats, Nomi pushes Obruchev into a pool of nanobots, where he is gruesomely dissolved. The other people flee when they see the results of the nanobots. Madeline manages to escape from Primo's captivity by throwing hot tea in his face. Bond finds Safin with Matilda in his captivity. When Safin threatens both her and Madeline, Bond gets on his knees and begs Safin to not hurt them, if he does what he wants, but Bond then takes out a hidden pistol and kills Safin's guards, but he escapes via a hatch with Matilda. However, the little lady bites Safin and he just lets her pass. She hides until Madeline finds her. Bond fights Safin and breaks his arm earlier than capturing him dead. He manages to open the doors once more, but he realizes he can't leave the island without hurting Madeline and Matilda. He contacts Q, who has Nomi placed Madeline on the road for him. They share a final moment together, reaffirming their love for one another, and Madeline confirms that Matilda is Bond's daughter. He then stands because the missiles arrive, obliterating the facility and Bond himself. All people realize what has happened. Bond fights Safin and breaks his arm earlier than capturing him dead. He manages to open the doors once more, but he realizes he can't leave the island without hurting Madeline and Matilda. He contacts Q, who has Nomi placed Madeline on the road for him. They share a final moment together, reaffirming their love for one another, and Madeline confirms that Matilda is Bond's daughter. He then stands because the missiles arrive, obliterating the facility and Bond himself. All people realize what has happened. Back at MI6, M, Tanner, Q, Moneypenny, and Nomi all acquire for a toast to Bond's memory. Madeline drives Matilda to Matera to retain their lives. She then decides to tell Matilda the story about her father, a person named Bond. James Bond. Thanks for watching. Please comment your favorite movie name for recap. Subscribe our channel and stay tuned.